Good morning, everyone. My days are off. This is Reverend Coach Reverend Melvina. I was going to record this yesterday, but my day was completely off kilter, so I am going to record this today and post it so all of you can get a chance to just dive into it and take your time with it. This is a big word, and a lot of people aren't. It's almost one of those bad words, but it's a word that's attached to healing, and I think we need to really look into it. So, as promised, I'm going to start reading chapter by chapter, just one chapter a day, each day. I said on Saturdays, but today's my Sunday, so I'm going to do it today. I'm going to start right now, and you can follow along as I read. So, chapter 1 on forgiveness. Which way is forgiveness? Saying I forgive is like taking an emotional shower. Think about that. An emotional shower. Forgiveness cleanses and frees the entrapped soul. It lets you free. It's not talking about setting them free. It's about setting yourself free. Releasing everything that you're holding in regarding whatever that situation may be. Cleansing yourself. If you stand under a shower long enough, you can, and let the water just run down your head, down your body, you can feel all the energy that was on you running off of you. So think about that when you say the word forgiveness, or when you're saying I forgive. It's pretty much like the same situation. You're letting it all go and you're releasing it. And it's a process. It can be painful because of whatever the situation may be, but it's necessary in order to get you and keep you at a place in your life where you're healthy, happy, and prosperous. And sometimes we may feel like that's not possible because of a loss of a loved one, and I get that. So, no one can tell you when to forgive or how soon you should do it, but at the same time, just know that it's necessary in order for you to heal. Some people feel like they don't want to heal, and that's a choice, and it's okay. But later on in life, it does affect the health of your mind, your body, and your spirit. It does affect whether you end up with other autoimmune situations. It does affect you. It can cause cancer, believe it or not, and other issues with your body. Your emotions and the things that trigger your body, trigger your mind, and your emotions also affect your body. So going forward with the reading, a mother once caught her little boy munching on his favorite cookies. Right before dinner, with little remorse, he nonchalantly handed her the depleted bag and stated, "I should ask forgiveness, shouldn't I, Mom?" "Only if you're sorry," she replied. "Why be sorry? I love eating those cookies. Being sorry would be dumb." Forgiveness doesn't always make sense. It's not easy to understand and even more difficult to accomplish. Many people, including Christians, misunderstand what forgiveness means, how we reach it, and why anyone would even want to forgive in the first place. They wonder, how can I forgive? This is good. You have probably asked the same question. How can I forgive? How can I ever let go of the pain that he, she, they has caused after what they have done? How can I just pardon them? Or we might be flooded with pain from our own guilt of hurting others, thinking, how can they ever forgive me? I went through this. Trust and believe it's not an easy place to be, where you have to, wonder, you walk in shame, or you feel like you walk in shame, you're going to be like that forever. And that was my question. How can they ever forgive me? How can I forgive myself after what I've done? Maybe worse. Maybe we look at ourselves in shame and wonder how God can ever forgive us. But we have to remember, God is a forgiving God. Some people resist, even refuse to forgive because they misunderstand what forgiveness truly is. To help us understand what it involves, we need to know what forgiveness is not. I'm going to break this down. I don't know if I'm going to get it done in the time frame. So I'm going to go so far, and then I'm going to take it up later on, the next portion of it. So what forgiveness is not. Forgiveness is not condoning evil. Forgiveness is not making a wrong right by saying, it doesn't matter. I forgive you. Genuine forgiveness is more like, it does matter. Some things might never be the same, but I will forgive you anyway. Forgiveness does not trivialize evil, nor does it condone or tolerate the sin that was committed. It doesn't discount the consequences resulting from that sin. Justice demands that a penalty be paid. Sometimes the government, which is God ordained, must administer that penalty, according to Romans 13, 1 and 4. The arsonist must make restitution for damages he inflicted. The rapist must complete his sentence in prison. The church treasurer who embezzled church funds must repay what he stole and be relieved of his or her position. All these offenders may receive mercy by being forgiven, but by their victims and by God. And justice demands they suffer consequences for their crimes. Forgiveness is not excusing the offender. Many of us feel that if we forgive someone who hurt us, they are excusing the person. For example, a mother whose daughter was killed by a store burglary might refuse to forgive the offender because she thinks if she does, it will excuse him and defame her daughter's memory. No. When we forgive someone, it does not mean we make excuses for their behavior. Excusing takes the responsibility from the person saying they are not to blame for the offense. If there is no one to blame, then there is no need to forgive. Forgiving, on the other hand, puts the responsibility for the wrong squarely on the offending person's shoulders. Let me say that again. Forgiving, on the other hand, puts the responsibility of the wrong squarely on the offending person's shoulders. Going further, forgiveness is not avoiding conflict. Some people will do anything to avoid confrontation, even if it means sweeping dirty problems under the rug of propriety. It is true that Jesus commanded peacemakers, and Paul admonished us to live in peace with everyone. But there are times when problems need to be dealt with, even to the point of conflict, so they can be addressed and possibly solved. For example, family members may gloss over the mother's alcoholism by saying, "Well, we'll just forgive her and go on." They are only postponing dealing with the real issue. Smothering conflict sometimes makes forgiveness ultimately more difficult to accomplish. Forgiveness is not compensating the good for the bad. We do not have to find some redeeming quality that makes the offender worth forgiving. A good trait, or several for that matter, does not make up for the injury that was done. One does not even out the other. The person's good behavior at one time does not negate the hurt that took place another time. Forgiveness is not a method of balancing the scales. Forgiveness is not forgetting. We have been taught the adage, forgive and forget. Some might equate the two actions, but they are not the same. Trying to forget and act as if the wrong never happened will not make it go away. Only by remembering the injury in the first place can we begin to forgive the one who hurt us. Forgiving can facilitate the forgetting process. After true forgiveness takes place, we can begin to feel free to heal from the past and forget the wrong. Let me say that again. After true forgiveness takes place, we can begin to feel free to heal from the past and forget the wrong. We might still remember it, but not in the same way. For instance, a worker may never fully forget a coworker's thoughtless and unwarranted criticism of her work. But with time and forgiveness, she can learn to let it fade from her heart. The last one I'm going to read is forgiveness is not just making up. Were you ever asked to shake hands and make up when you got into a fight as a child? While this may or may not have worked to mend your childhood squabbles, adults need to do more to forgive than an obligatory handshake. Sadly, though, adults may give the appearance of forgiving. Oh my God, this is deep. I want you guys to think about that part, because a lot of people say this: I forgive you and I wish you well, and they really don't mean it, literally. So what it says is, sadly though, adults may give appearance of forgiving and making peace, but underneath the facade is a bitter, unforgiving spirit. So you really haven't forgiven. You're just saying it to save face, or trying to save face. Take, for example, a quarrel between members in the church. They give the appearance of getting along and forgiving, but only are appeasing the preacher when he is looking. There's definitely more to genuine forgiveness. So, what is genuine forgiveness? How do we start our journey to reach it? And why is it so important to Christians? God's word has the answers. So, that's just the first part. It's a little bit to think about. Some bullet points there. But healing is a necessary thing. But these are some things that we really need to understand. And it may tap into some things. Yep, that's exactly how I felt. That's exactly how I feel now. Admit it. It's okay. But it's also a stepping point for you to forgive, but also to heal and be free, just like the book said. Hopefully later on this evening I'll come back and read some more to you about this, but I didn't want to take on too much of your time. Love you all. Take care and be blessed.